Alright, so we got scalloped potatoes for Brett Paul. So the ingredients tonight, we have some chives, we have some shallots, fresh thyme, we have a bit of rosemary, we have some fresh basil, Gruyere cheese, cheddar cheese, garlic, potatoes, and a little bit of olive oil. We're going to use some milk, and I'm actually using 1% milk and chicken broth. We can use cream instead. Instead of making the actual sauce like I'm going to cook here, you can actually just put in some 35% cream and a little bit of chicken broth or milk to thin it out, and just do the same thing. But this makes it a bit more yummy. So I got the garlic chopped up. I'm chopping up some thyme. The chives I'm going to rough chop. The basil I'm going to get ready. I'm not going to chop the basil just yet because it bruises too early, so I'm going to leave the basil aside. We're going to chop up the shallots, nicely sliced, and then we're going to get going on the sauce here. So I have my food cutter ready to go. We're going to cut up our potatoes with this and our cheese. I put about a tablespoon of olive oil into the eating skillet. I'm going to preheat it on a medium-high heat to saute the shallots. While the oil is preheating, I'm going to slice up my potatoes. This machine is such a bonus. Look how quick and easy that just goes right through. Nice even slices, and they're nicely sliced thick enough that they don't fall apart. So we get our shallots into the pan, sauteing the olive oil. So we're just going to brown that to a little bit translucent. As that's sauteing, we're going to add a bit of garlic. Get that garlic into there. Can't have scalloped potatoes without garlic, and a little bit of that fresh chopped thyme. Alright, so we got some thyme, some garlic, shallots, and the olive oil. We're going to cook them till they're fairly translucent. Then what we're going to do is going to deglaze the pan with some white wine. Now I put about a cup of white wine in there. I'm just going to reduce it down a little bit. I'm going to cook that wine down until it's you can still see the bottom of the pan as you move the spoon through. We're going to put a bit of flour in here to make a roux. Traditionally, a roux would be half fat, like butter or oil, and half flour. I'm just putting a bit of flour into the onions here and letting them bind with the onions, and make sure to cook it a little bit. If you don't cook it, when you add the liquid, it may split. So you cook it for a small bit, about 2 minutes or so, and then I'm going to slowly add a little bit of chicken broth. I'm going to let that thicken and add more chicken broth. Let that thicken until, as I'm pouring in the chicken broth, it's not getting as thick anymore. Right, I'm putting in a tablespoon of cream cheese into that. You can see the thickness, the consistency is quite nice. I have some cheese that I'm going to grate. That's the Gruyere and the cheddar cheese. And I'm now going to chop up my basil, because we're going to mix the basil, those chives, the rest of the thyme, and the garlic in with those potatoes I sliced up. We're going to put all the cheese in there, get all that stuff good to go. While the sauce is nice and hot, I'm going to pour it all over the potatoes, get it right in there. Then we're going to give it a good mix, put it back in the pot. We turn it on a medium heat for about 5 minutes just to get it boiling. Once it starts boiling inside, put a little bit of chicken broth in the bottom of the pan so it won't burn. And I put a bit of olive oil in there for this little added flavor. Then we pour all that in there on a medium heat. There's going to be some liquid looking, looks like it's wet on the sides. It's fine because we're going to add some Parmesan cheese and breadcrumbs later to fix that. But we want that little bit of liquid to help it cook, right? We got 558. So I have it on the medium heat. It's bubbling away here. As it's bubbling away, what we're going to do now is I'm going to add some breadcrumbs and some Parmesan cheese just to kind of soak up some of that moisture. Then we're going to turn the stove right off. So we let that keep going and get that on there, put the lid on, turn it off, let it sit for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, we have scalloped potatoes. And that's the way we like to do it. And Brett Paul, I hope this works for you. Tell me how it comes out, because it is definitely a yummy, yummy, yummy dish. And that's the way we do it. Chef Warren's kitchen at dinner for two, because look, that is yummy.